Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Faizan Khan and this is the last part of email sender application using Python. In the previous video, we saw the functionality of how we can send single email to anyone. And in this video, we will see how we can send multiple emails and we will also see how we can send attachments along with the message. But before that, let's fix few of the issues. So firstly, what I want, when I click on the settings button, I should see the from email address and the password inside these entry fields, which is already stored inside this credentials.txt file, right? So I want this email address inside that entry field and this password inside that password entry field. As you can see in the original project, if I click on this settings button, you are seeing this email address and the password inside these entry fields. So the same thing we have to do in our project. So inside the settings function, what I have to do, from this credentials.txt, I will add the email address and the password inside those entry fields. So where I'm going to do this, after creating this clear button, just here I'm simply going to firstly open that file. So open credentials.txt and I'm going to open this in the read format. I'll name this file as f, and after that I'm going to read it using a loop for I in f. If I print this I variable so that you can see what it is storing, if I run the code and click on the settings button, so settings function will be called and you can see on the console it is giving us this result. So this is nothing but the email address which is stored inside this credentials.txt file, and this is the password. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to split this into a list. So I'll use this split method and I'll split this on the basis of this comma. Now if I run this and click on the settings button, you can see we are getting a list, right? Now what we have to do, the element which is at index 0, I have to add this inside my from entry field, and the password will be inserted inside this password entry field. So what I'm going to do, I'm simply going to keep it in a variable. So instead of printing, I'll store this in a variable credentials just like we did earlier. And now inside this credentials we have this complete list. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to insert this email address inside my from entry field. So I'll write from entry field dot insert, and at the 0th index I will insert credentials element which is at index 0. So as you can see, element 0 of this credentials list is nothing but this email address. In the same way, I will insert the password inside my password entry field. So I'll use password entry field dot insert method, and at the 0th index I'll insert this credentials element which is at index 1, and as you can see here the password is at index 1. Now if I run this code and if I click on the settings button, you are able to see the from email address and the password here. Okay, and now let's see how we can send attachment along with the message. So what I want, when I click on this attachment button, a file dialog box should appear. And then we will select an image or a document, and then when we will click on the send button, that attachment along with the message should be sent to the particular email address. Let me show you how it works in our original project. So here when I will click on this attachment button, this file dialog box is appearing, and from here we can select any image file or any document that we want to send. So if I select this image, so you can see the name of the image is appearing on this text area. Here we can enter the email address to which we want to send this attachment. Then I added this subject and this message. Now if I click on the send button, you can see email has been sent successfully. Now let's check. If I show you my emails, the first one, as you can see, I received the email and this is the attachment. We can download this as well. So let's add this functionality to our project. So I'm going to provide a command to this attachment button. So whenever you will click on this attachment button, this particular command, which is nothing but a function, will be called. So I'll give function name as attachment only, and let's define it at the top. Def attachment. And first of all, when I will click on the attachment button, I want to see that file dialog box. So in order to display that file dialog box, I need to firstly import it. So from tkinter, just like we imported message box, I'm going to import file dialog. And now I'm going to open this file dialog. So I'll use this file dialog dot ask open file name method, and to this method we have to pass the initial directory. So I'll mention initial directory as C directory, and then I'll mention the title as select file. And this ask open file name method will return the path of the file that you have selected, and I will store that in some variable file path. And if I print this variable file path, let me run this code. If I click on this attachment button, you are seeing this dialog box. Here you can see the title is select file and initial directory is C directory. Now from here I can select any file and I can click on this open button. So right now nothing will happen. You will only see the result of whatever is stored inside this file path variable. Here you can see the complete path of that file which we selected. And now I want to insert this file name onto my text area so that it will be understood that this file is selected. For that, firstly I'm going to import OS module, which will help in getting the file name. So I'm not going to print anything. What I'm going to do, I'm going to use this module dot path dot base name method, and to this method we can pass the complete file path. So I'll pass this file path variable, and this method will return only the name of the file that we have selected, and I will store that in some variable file name. And now I want to insert this file name inside my text area. So I'll write text area dot insert method, and at the end I'm going to insert this file name. Let me run this code again. Now if I select some file from my desktop, the same file, so now you can see only the name is getting inserted inside my text area. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a new line character at the start and at the end, so that if there is already a message present, then the file name should be added to a new line. So here I'm going to use fstring, and this variable will be now inside my curly braces like this, and the new line character will be added like this. So this fstring is used to concatenate a variable with a string. Now if I run this code again, and suppose there is some message already present on the text area, she is an actress, and now if I attach the file, you will see the file will be attached onto a new line. So that is why I added new line character at the start, and also you can see the cursor is moving to a new line because I have added the new line character at the end of the file also. And now if I print the path again, just to show you one thing, so here I'll print the file path name again. If I click on this attachment and from the desktop, if I select this file, you can see on the console what is getting printed. So this thing is getting printed. This is nothing but the complete path, as I told you. So I want to send two types of documents, either the images or some document file. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to split this complete path. So it will become a list, and in that list, this complete thing will be one element and this format will be another element. So this format will help in deciding which file it is, whether image file or document file. So I'm going to split this file path on the basis of dot here. Now if I run the code again and select an attachment from here, you will see a list, and inside this list there are two elements. First is the path of the image and the second is the format of the image. So I will be storing this format in a variable, so it will be easy for us to compare whether it is an image file or other document. So firstly I'm going to simply put this in a variable file type. So this variable will simply store this complete list, right? And now what I'm interested in the format. So this format is at index 1. So what I'm going to do, I'm simply going to update this variable file type, and I'll simply store the element which is at index 1 inside this file type variable. So now inside this file type variable we will have this JPG format. And for sending attachment, I will go inside this sending email function, and I'm going to use one of the method of this email message class. So I can use that with the help of this message object. So I'll write message object dot add attachment method, and to this method we have to pass the file data which we don't have right now. I'll tell you how we can get this. After that we have to pass main type, which will be image. Then to this method we have to pass the subtype, which will be some variable subtype. I will define this variable later on. After that we have to pass the file name, and I'll mention the variable as file name. So if you want to send an image as an attachment, then you have to pass all these arguments to this add attachment method. So this file name is nothing but the same variable which we have used here. Inside this variable we had the file name, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make this variable as global so that I can use this variable inside some other function. So I'll write global file name. So now this variable can also be used inside this sending email function. And as I already told you, we are interested in sending two types of attachments. One will be image file, another will be the documents. So what I did here, inside this file type variable we got the format of the file, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this variable inside this sending email function to check whether it is a image file or some other document. So I'm going to make this variable global as well, and now I can use this variable value inside the sending email function. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to check a condition if file type equals to png. So if inside that file type variable we will have extension or format as png, it means it will be a image file. Similarly we'll check for other format. So if inside the file type variable we will have any image format, it means this condition will become true, and I'm going to open that file. So I'll pass the file path here. So this is the same variable. What I'm going to do, I'm going to make this global as well. So this variable is containing the complete file path. So that complete file path I'm simply passing to this open function. I'm going to open this file as binary format for reading, and I'll name this file as f, and then I'll read the data of this file and will store the data inside some variable which will be nothing but file data, the same variable which we have passed to this add attachment method. After that, we have to calculate the subtype of the file. For that, we have to import image HDR module. So here I'll write import img HDR. So this is an inbuilt module which will help us to find the type of the file. So here I'm going to write img HDR dot what method, and here we'll simply pass the file path. So this is the complete location of the file that we will select, and it will return the type of that file. So that will be nothing but the subtype. And this subtype I'm passing to this add attachment method. So I'm going to provide indentation here. So if file type will be an image, in that case image will be added as an attachment. And if the file type is some Word file or Excel file, in that case we will simply go to the else part, and in the else part I'll again open that file, and then I will read the data of that file and will store that data inside that file underscore data variable, just like we did for our image file. And again we will use add attachment method for sending attachment. So I'll use message object dot add attachment method, and here firstly we'll pass this file data variable, this one, and then we'll pass main type. So main type in this case will be application, then subtype will be octet stream, like this, and at last we'll have to pass the file name, which will be nothing but the same file name. So if you will select an image, then this particular code will be executed, and if you will select other document, then this particular code will be executed. And one more thing, here we will also have to check if the user has selected some attachment or not. If the user will not select any attachment, in that case you will be getting an error, because in that case this file type will not be defined, right? Because if the user has not selected any document, in that case this file type will have no value, so you will get an error. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a variable here, check, and initially I'll pass false value to it. And if the user will select some attachment, in that case we will go inside this attachment function, right? And inside this function, what I'm going to do, I'm going to change the value of this check variable to true, and then I'll go inside this sending email function, and here I'll apply a condition that if check is true or false. So if it is true, it means the user has selected an attachment, and if it will be false, it means the user has not selected any attachment. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select this code till here and provide indentation like this. So if the user will not select any attachment, in that case this condition will become false and this code will not be executed. And if the user will select some attachment, in that case this condition will become true and this particular code will be executed. And one more thing, I will have to make this variable as global. So I'm going to cut this line from here, I'll paste it here. Then I'll make this check variable as global, so that the value of this check variable can be used inside the sending email function, right? Now let's check if we are able to send attachment or not. So I have added two email address, subject and the message. Now let's add attachment. So from my desktop I'll add this email.xlsx file, and now let's send it. So as you can see, email is sent successfully, and now let's check it. So as you can see, I have received this email and this is the attachment, right? So I hope you understood what we did for sending the attachment. Firstly, I created this attachment function, and inside this I used a file dialog box to open the file, and then I added that file name on my text area. After that, I took the file type to check which file the user has selected, and then inside this sending email function I have compared that file, that whether it is a image file or some other document. So if it is an image file, then this particular code will be executed, otherwise this code will be executed. And now if you see this original project here, if I am selecting multiple option, what is happening here, this browse button is getting enabled and this entry field is getting disabled. So I will not be able to enter any two email address then, right? And when I'm clicking this single radio button again, you can see browse button is disabled and this to entry field is now enabled, so that we can write some email address here, right? So let's see this functionality. So I'm going to create a function at the top here, and I'll name it button check. So inside this function we will check if multiple radio button is selected, then we will enable the state of the browse button, and we will make the state of to entry field to read only, so that nobody will be able to type any email address there. So I'll check here if choice dot get equals to multiple. So if you will select multiple radio button, then inside the choice variable we will be getting multiple as a value. So if this condition becomes true, it means you have selected multiple radio button. In that case, I will make the state of browse button to normal. So firstly, what we have to do, firstly we will have to create object of the browse button, so that we can use the methods which are present inside that button class. So I'm going to name this as browse button, and then instead of directly adding this grid method to the class, now I can use this grid method with the help of object. So I'm simply going to remove this line, and now I will use grid method with the help of this object variable browse button, and I will paste here like this. So I have created object of this button so that I can use the method of this button class, which will help us to disable or enable the state of this button. So I'll go back. So here now I can use that browse button dot config method, and I'll make the state back to normal, and then I will make the state of to entry field to read only. So I'll use to entry field dot config method, and I'll make the state as read only, right? So after defining this function, I have to call this function. So from where I will call this function, I will call it from that radio button, multiple radio button. So let's go to that multiple radio button, and here we need to pass a command. So I'll move it to a new line, and here I'll write command equals to check button or button check. And now if I run this code, if I select this multiple radio button, you can see browse button state became normal, and this entry field is now set to read only, so we will not be able to insert any email address inside it. Okay, and now when I click on this single radio button, I want to disable the state of this browse button and want to enable the state of this to email address so that we can enter the email address. So let's see, inside that button check function, now I will check if single radio button is selected. So I'll use this choice variable dot get method, and if the value inside this choice variable is single, in that case I will make the state of this browse button to disabled and to entry field state will become normal. So I'll paste the same code here, and only I'll change this state to disabled, and here I'll make the state back to normal. And just like we called this function from multiple radio button, we will have to call this function from single radio button as well. So when you will click on single radio button, then also this function will be called and it will check for this condition, right? And here also I'll be providing the same command, button check without parenthesis. Now if I run this code, if I'm clicking on this multiple radio button, and if I'm clicking back to single radio button, you can see the changes, right? And now finally let's see how we can send multiple emails. So the way of sending multiple emails is to browse one Excel file inside which you will have all the emails inside email column. So what I mean by that, let me show you. I have this email.xlsx file on my desktop, and inside it you can see there is this email column, and all the emails are written in that column. So there can be 50 or 100 emails or more than that, and you want to send emails to all of them. In that case, this particular application will be very useful for you. So let's see the functionality of that browse button, that how we can browse this particular email.xlsx file, and then we will check if the email column is present in that file or not. And then when I will click on the send button, one by one the email will be sent to all these email addresses which are written here. Of course there will be different email addresses. For simplicity I am using my own single email address so that I can show you. So let's define a function for our browse button. Firstly, let me call that function from the browse button. So here I am going to provide a command equals to browse. And now let's define this at the top. Here I'll write def browse. So what we have to do inside this function? Let me show you the original project so that you can understand what is happening there. As you can see this original project, I am selecting multiple radio button here. This browse button is now normal. If I click on this browse button, you are seeing this file dialog box, right? So from here I have to select that emails.xlsx file. I'll open it, and once I'll click open button, you can see the file name is getting added inside my to email address, right? And then here at the bottom you are seeing the status that there are total 4 emails, right? So if you see this xlsx file, I told you I will be ignoring all the blank columns, right? So it simply counted 1, 2, 3, 4 email addresses are present inside this email.xlsx file. So how this functionality is done, we will see this, and we will also see how we can display these labels here: total, sent, left and failed. So let's see the logic. So inside this browse function, firstly I'm going to open that file dialog box. So I'll use file dialog dot ask open file name method, and here we'll pass the initial directory as C, and then the title will be select Excel file. This method will return the complete path of the file. So I'll store that in some variable path. And now to get the email addresses from the Excel file, we will be requiring one external module, which is pandas. So we have to go to terminal. Here we need to type pip install pandas and hit enter. So once pandas is successfully installed, next you need to import it. So at the top here I'll import pandas, right? And now what we are going to do, we are going to read the data of that Excel file which the user will select, right? And before that, so suppose the user opens the file dialog box but does not select any Excel file, right? In that case, inside this path variable we will not have anything, right? So I'll check firstly that if this path variable is storing none, means there is nothing inside that path variable. So I'll simply display a message box dot show error, and the title will be error, and the message will be please select an Excel file. So if I run this, firstly I have to select this multiple radio button, and now if I click on this browse button, I am getting an error. Okay, so the error is I made a mistake in the spelling of initial, so it will be initial, right? Initial directory. And now if I run it again, multiple browse, you can see a file dialog box has appeared. But if I don't select any file and simply click on cancel, okay, nothing happened. I think I made a mistake. Oh, okay. So instead of none, it will be a null string like this. Okay, because if you try to print this path, right, so you can see what it will store. Okay, so if I run and select multiple radio button, browse, and I don't select any file, directly click on this cancel button, you can see please select an Excel file. Okay, so we are seeing this error message box, and no path is printed because inside this path variable we have null string, right? So I hope you understood this. We will go in the else part when you will select some Excel file, and in the else part we will simply read that Excel file. So with the help of this pandas module, I'll access one of the method read Excel, and here we need to pass the Excel file which we want to read, and that Excel file will be inside this path variable, right? So I'll simply pass this path variable here. So this method will give us complete data of that Excel file, and I will store that in some variable data. And then inside this data we will check if there is email column present or not. So I'm going to apply a condition here: if email in data dot columns. So if in that Excel file we will have email column, in that case we will get all the emails from that column like this, and then I will convert that to a list like this, and then I will store that list in some variable emails. And if I print this variable so that you will see what is inside it, if I run this code, if I select this multiple, then this browse button, and now from desktop I'm selecting this emails.xlsx file. I'm getting an error. Let's see. So here optional dependency XLRD is missing. So what we have to do, we have to go to terminal. Here we need to install that XLRD. So once it is successfully installed, now you can run your code again. Let's browse that file again. So the XLRD which we installed does not support XLSX file. So what you have to do, you have to download different version of that XLRD. So go to your terminal again. Here you need to type pip install XLRD equals to 1.2.0 and hit enter. Once this is installed, now you can run your code again, and this time hopefully it will work. Let me select Excel file again, and now we are not getting any error. Let's see what is getting printed. So as you can see, all the email addresses are now inside this list, and here you can see NAN. It means there is no email address present there. So now what I'm going to do, instead of printing, I'll create an empty list here. I'll name it final emails, and this will be empty initially. And now I will iterate over to this list and will store all the email addresses inside this final emails list, and I will ignore if there is no email addresses like NAN here. So I'll use a for loop here for I in emails, and inside this for loop I'll check one by one if email address is present or not. So I'll use one of the method of pandas module to check. So I'll write if pandas dot is null method, and here I'll pass this I variable which will store the email addresses. If this will give us false value, it means that email address is there right inside this I variable. So that email address I will simply append inside this final emails list. So I'll write final emails dot append, and I'll append the email address which is inside the I variable. So once this for loop is over, inside this final emails list we will have all the email addresses only. So if I print this variable final emails, let me run this code again. If I select multiple and browse that Excel file, now you can see inside this list we have only the email addresses, and it is not including any blank columns. So there can be a case that inside this final emails list we do not get any email address. It will mean that inside that Excel file we don't have any email address. So I'll check the length of this final emails list, and if it will be equal to 0, it means there is no email address present, right? So if there will be no email address, then I will simply display a message box dot show error. The title will be error, and the message will be file does not contain any email addresses. Otherwise, if the length of this final emails list is not equals to 0, it means there are email addresses present inside it, right? So we will simply go to the else part. And in this else part, firstly I will insert the Excel file name inside to email address. So I'll use to email address to entry field dot insert, and at the starting position I'm going to insert Excel file name. So how can I get that Excel file name? With the help of this OS module. So os.path.base name, and here we will simply pass the path, right? Path of that file. Okay. So this will give us only the name of the file that we are selecting, and that will be inserted inside my to entry field. And then we have to display total label, sent label, left label and field label on the left bottom side. We have already created those labels, if you remember, in the previous video, right? I created all these labels in the previous video, but I have not provided any text to these labels. That is why you were not able to see them, but now you will be able to see them. So I'll use that total label object variable and I'll simply update the text. So I'll write text equals to, so text will be nothing but the number of email addresses inside this list, right? So what I will do, I will simply calculate the length of final emails. So as you can see, there are 4 email addresses, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So you will see total equals to 4, right? So I also have to add total string here like this, and then concatenation operator, which is plus, and also we will have to convert that to string so that it will be concatenated with a string, right? So I'll use str method here to concatenate a string with a string, right? And then we also have to display sent, left and failed label text. So I'll use sent label dot config method and I'll set the text as sent. So currently I don't know how many messages will be sent, so I cannot display that particular value, but we will display that value later on. And in the same way, just like we added the text for sent label, we'll do it for left and failed label. So here it will be left and this one will be changed to left label, right? And this one will become failed, and here the object variable will be changed to failed label. So now if I run this code, if I select that Excel file again, you can see we are getting total, sent, left and failed, but we are not getting the file name inside this to email address, right? So what we have to do, firstly we have to make the state of to entry field to normal, then only we will be able to insert anything. So I'll use config method and I'll make the state to normal firstly, and then the insertion will take place. Okay, and here after this total I'll add colon and then we'll provide a space like this. And now you can see the file name is inserted inside my to email address, but I will be able to modify it, right? So I don't want this thing to happen. So once the insertion is done, after that again I will make the state to read only. So I'll write config method and I'll make the state back to read only, so that you are not able to do any changes there. And now let's send emails to all the email addresses which are present inside this final emails list. So I'll go to that send email function, and here what we were doing, we were checking that if single radio button is selected, then we were calling this sending email function, and to this function we were passing the email address which was written on the to entry field, and then the subject, and then the body, right? And now in the same way we will check if choice dot get equals to multiple. It means if multiple radio button is selected, then again we will call the same function sending email, and this time we have to pass the emails which are inside that final emails list, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make that variable as global, so that I can use the values which are stored inside this variable inside that send email function. So at the top here I'll write global final emails, like this. So inside this final emails list we will have all those 4 email addresses, right? So I want to send the email to all those 4 addresses. So before calling the sending email function, firstly I'll use a loop here for x in final emails. So inside this x variable we will have one by one all the email addresses which are inside this final emails list. So when the loop will run for the first time, inside this x variable we will have our first email address, right? And that email address I will pass to this function. And we also have to pass subject and the body that we can get from the subject entry field and text area. So I'll simply copy this from here and I'll paste it. Let me provide indentation here, like this. So one by one inside this x variable we will have email addresses, and that email addresses will be passed to this sending email function, and the emails will be sent to that particular email addresses. So when this function will be called, the control will be moved to the sending email function, right? And inside it we are simply sending the email to that to email address. So this send message of this SMTP class is helping us to send the email. And instead of showing this message box here, I'm going to remove this from here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to check if the message is sent successfully or not. How can I do that? I will have to use one of the method of this SMTP class. So s dot hello, and this will return some values. So I will store that in some variable x. This will basically give us a list. Then we will check if element at the index 0 inside this x variable is equals to 250. If this is the thing, it means our email is sent successfully. So if the email is sent successfully, I'm simply going to return sent string. Else I'm going to return failed. So this 250 value represents that the email is sent successfully. And if the email will be sent successfully, we are returning the sent string. And if the email will fail, we are returning this failed string. So since we are returning something, so this value, the returned value, will go at the same position from where we are calling a function. So in case of single email, I will store that value whether it is sent or failed inside some variable result, and then we will check if result equals to sent. It means the email is sent successfully. So here I'll show that message box. So I'll write message box dot show info. First the title will be success, and the message will be email is sent successfully. And if inside this result variable we get failed as a returned value, in that case inside this result variable we will have this failed string, right? So I'll compare with this, and if inside result we have failed string, it means the email is not sent successfully. So I'll display a error message box. So I'll show error, the title will be error, and the message will be email is not sent, or any other message which you prefer. And in case of multiple emails also, I will receive the values which this sending email function will return, right? So I will store that in some variable result. And in case of multiple, we have to keep a count that how many emails are sent, left and failed. So I'm going to create two variables here, sent and failed, and I'm assigning 0 values to these two variables initially. So these two variables will keep a count that how many emails are sent and how many are failed. And now I'll check if result variable is storing sent string. It means I'll increase the count of sent variable by 1. And if inside this result we will get failed string, it means we'll increase the count of failed. So if there are 4 emails inside this final emails list, in that case suppose 3 are sent, then inside the sent variable we will have 3, and suppose 1 is failed, in that case inside this failed variable we will have 1. And then we will update total, sent, left and failed labels. So what I did, firstly I removed the text of this total label, and then I updated the text of the sent label and also added the count, right? So it will simply denote that how many emails are sent successfully. After that I updated left label, and there you will see left string, and after that you will see the emails which are left and how I have counted it. Firstly I took the final emails, means total emails, and from that I have subtracted the sum of sent and failed emails. So this will give the left emails, right? And after that I updated the text of the failed label, and here you will see failed text, and after that the count of failed emails. So suppose there are 4 emails inside this final emails list. So when the loop will run for the first time, then if that email will be sent successfully, so you will see the text as sent 1 and left 3, and there will be no failed, right? And when the loop will run for the second time, what I'm going to do, I'm going to simply update these labels, right? So to show the values of these labels getting updated on each iteration of the loop, we will have to update these labels. So I'm simply updating all these 4 labels. So on our GUI window, you will see the updation when each email will be sent or failed. And once this loop is over, means all emails are either sent or some are failed, right? So what I will do, I will simply come out of this loop, and once I come out of this loop, I'll simply update a message box. So I'll write message box dot show info, and I'll show info that emails are sent successfully, like this. So once I am out of loop, it means some emails are sent, So that message you will see on the screen, right? And if some emails are failed, that you will see on this failed label. So I guess our functionality is done. Now let's see and try to send multiple emails. Firstly, let me show you my Gmail account. As you can see, there are no emails sent by me. Now let's send multiple emails to the same email address. So I have to browse the Excel file. So as you can see right now, there are total 4 emails inside that Excel file, and sent, left, failed value is not defined right now. So I have added the subject and added a message. I hope it works, and now let's send it. You can see the status here. 1 is sent, now 2 are sent, 2 are left, 3 are sent, 1 is left, and 4 are sent successfully. So there are no failed emails, and all 4 are sent successfully. And now after that we are seeing this message box that emails are sent successfully, right? And now we can check our email box. So you can see I received these 4 emails just now. So this way we will be able to send emails to any number of email addresses. That's it for this project. I hope you understood everything. If you have any doubts, let me know in the comment section. Thank you for watching.